And they used to put GHRP2 or GHRP6 with Summerlin back in the day, and they work systematically together to give you a better result. So it's one that I like to use. You can use it, one, for weight loss, right, or two, for muscle growth. So if you inject it right in the morning per se, subcutaneously in the stomach area, you're going to get all the benefits of IGF-1 throughout the day.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
We've got a list here my team put together. Semorlin, Ipamorelin, GHRP6, GHRP2 are very popular online now, talking about that. Obviously, we've talked about it, but I'd love to refresh again on IGF-1 LR3 and a modified GRF. So any of these, could you kind of speak about these and why the rise in discussion of these? Because again, if anybody's watching, I'm trying to find out the numbers to push that IGF up. But then there's this confusing shopping list of watching these YouTube videos, and again, like we said, there's so much information out here. Why is there a list of 20 things to get one thing? Or do they work together in tandem, or can I get all 10 and see what happens?
So you can get all 10 and see what happens. I think they're overlapping in some different areas. So when we talk about GHRP2 and GHRP6, those are growth releasing peptides, and both of them stimulate ghrelin, right? The hunger hormone, like we talked about.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So that's what specifically it's trying to do.
Yeah, so that's a specific. So it's trying to stimulate the pituitary. And they used to put GHRP2 or GHRP6 with Summerlin back in the day, and they work systematically together to give you a better result, which was to hopefully increase your IGF-1 levels, help induce better sleep patterns, increase appetite if that was the case, lean body mass and such. So GHRP2 and GHRP6 aren't used anymore. Like in my world, like they're obsolete because of ipamorelin. So that one has really took the cake. It's the big bad boy on the block, and it's the predecessor to, like I said, GHRP2 and GHRP6. So with that, you're going to get a way better result with ipamorelin. It's going to work for longer inside the body too as well. And you're really not going to see GHRP2 or GHRP6 from any compounding pharmacies out there. And the only place you might see it is online at research chemical sites, but I wouldn't take a risk even getting that from them. I would go with the ipamorelin if you're going to do it, and you'll have CJC 1295 for the exact same price. So at that point, if you're looking to increase growth hormone levels and you want to use one of these products, I'd probably use those two put together, and that would probably give you the best result out of anything GHRP2, GHRP6, and Summerlin wise.
Real quick, just I got to interrupt you. Sorry, or I lose all this because you're giving so much information. I know this is second nature to you. I'm still a beginner. So it seems as though it keeps going back to the ipamorelin with the CJC 1295. Those two mixed together, and then if you want to do the IGF-1 LR3 added in before and after work, before workout, and then also at night, that's a great peptide protocol to get your numbers at least moving in the right direction.
Right. With IGF-1 LR3, so IGF-1 LR3, insulin-like growth factor, and LR3 is made its long release, right? So there's regular IGF-1 and there's IGF-1 LR3. So IGF-1 is really quick in and out of the body as far as when it's going to be useful to you, right? It's quick in and quick out. You got to take multiple doses throughout the day. Well, IGF-1 LR3 is supposed to be in the body for this 24-hour period as far as a half-life. So you're supposed to get a way better result all the way through and through. So you could take it in the morning and still have you working out with it in the afternoon. It's still going to get you great pumps, and you're going to still feel the IGF-1. So that's the big ticket between those two. IGF-1 LR3 is a really, really popular therapy. And before we were able to get it, no problems. The FDA cracked down a little bit, but I guess the pharmacies are letting them create this again. So at that point, we will hopefully have that back in the artillery here this week, if all goes well. So it's one that I like to use. You can use it, one, for weight loss, all right, or two, for muscle growth. So if you inject it, right, in the morning per se, subcutaneously in the stomach area, you're going to get all the benefits of IGF-1 throughout the day. If you're looking for more muscle growth and build, Now, the research on this is, I'm a research guy too, so I like the research being there. And I don't really see the research in the muscle growth by site injecting, but people swear by it.
Yeah, it seems like all my friends are talking about, oh, I do it in, if I'm doing shoulders, I'm shooting it into the shoulder that morning. If I'm doing arms, I shoot it in the arms.
Yeah. And, you know, it might increase the pump in that area too. So that might be like, oh man, like, I'm getting more muscle growth out of this. But, you know, I haven't seen any research on it. So I'm not going to sit here and say, listen, you're going to grow bigger muscles by spot injecting. But I've done it myself. I thought I got a good result. Right. And a lot of people do it and they get a good result from it. So, you know, it's something you can try. Either way, you're still going to get the benefit of IGF-1. So it's not like it's a wasted shot.
I'm cool with the mental approach of it. You know, if you think if it's working, it's working. You know, I'll go back to that because it just seems like peptides are such a healthy way to go and a good way to go.
Yeah.
Am I correct to say Samorlin is not a peptide?
So it is.
It is.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Continue, please.
Samorlin was one of the original peptides. Samorlin got FDA approval, I believe, trying to think it was 70s or 80s. 70s or 80s. It's been a long time since I read about it, as far as that goes. But what it was supposed to come out and do, was supposed to be the substitute for growth hormone. So it was supposed to use on children that had growth hormone disorders and adults that had growth hormone disorders and be able to utilize for that. So dwarfism or anything like that too as well, that's what it was supposed to come out and do. The problem with Samorlin works pretty good the first 3 to 6 months. And then after that, you don't get hardly any good effect. So you're not feeling the sleep like you used to. It's not helping out. You're like, man, this is I've kind of plateaued here. So that's the reason, the problem with Samorlin. For CAC 1295, there's never a drop off. You can take it for a whole year and still get the exact same effect all the way through every night. So that's it. You know, Samorlin, like I said, it's one of the original peptides out there.
Modified GRF.
Yeah.
Am I saying that correctly, Jeffrey?
Yeah. You're talking about the fragment, the 176 fragment.
I just heard of it as modified GRF.
Yeah, he's just heard of it as, this is just the research we've done. We've just heard him talking about it. So this is probably, you would understand that better than I.
So that goes back to AOD 9604. The fragmented of growth hormone is 176 amino acid sequence instead of the 191 that a growth hormone has. This is going to be good for lipolysis and lipogenesis. So destroying fat that's already stored in the body. That's one effect that it has. The second effect is that it does not store food as fat in your body and utilizes energy too as well. So you're getting all the benefits of the weight loss effect from growth hormone without any of the negative side effects that come along with growth hormone. And that's what a lot of people use it for.
Okay, you gave me, and then the big one again, and we spoke about this already. We don't need to. The MK is obviously one of the big things that you can do for a period of time. That's really set up the body to burn fat, but also it does create the hunger level.
Of course.
So you should be a disciplined individual if this is the route that you kind of go down this route. And this is now. Am I wrong again, or is this not a peptide?
It is a peptide. Originally it was a lot of people categorize it as a SARM, a selective androgen receptor modulator, but it's not a SARM. It is a peptide therapy.
Oh, wow. It's that helps out so much. I learned so much more. I know this is very repetitive for you to do these talks with me, but I really am trying to understand. Does this make sense? It makes
perfect sense. Yeah, I mean, you know,
he comes in one time. He makes perfect sense. I've been here for a month and a half, and I have no idea what.
No, I mean, asking repetitive questions that's the way you the information sinks in, because if you don't ask the repetitive questions that you're asking, how are you meant to know what's what? There's so many peptides out there. Someone that does the job every day will understand it a lot better than you do. Yeah. No disrespect to you, but the fact is that understanding that someone that does the job every day has, and the way they can explain it and simplify it, I think I always say to myself, keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
You know, if I can keep it as simple as possible, then I can understand it. Then a 5-year-old can understand it. Right. You know, if Titan can understand it, then it's good.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? It's that simple. You know, Titan's almost 5. You know, if he can understand it, then it's good. You know, you should be able to. Peptide shouldn't be complicated or complex in any way. I think it's just, what results do you want to gain?
Okay, you say that, but at the same sense, and for both of you, this is a question for both of you. Obviously, I found out something today that I didn't know is that the tesamorelin compared to the ipamorelin not proven to be a huge difference except for financial. And so then my question is, well, I mean, these companies are out there saying that the one is better so they can charge more and get more of a profit.
I think, I mean, you know, that's always going to happen.
Business comes into play.
Yeah, when business comes into play in any industry, people are always going to manipulate the market. People are always going to sell you the most expensive product, even though you can get a result with very similar with a very cheaper product. They're going to sell you the most expensive. I don't know. Some people don't understand peptides as much as they should. If I was going to go on peptides, I'd do a little bit of research prior to going on and seeing what does what, even if it's just by talking to someone like yourself to get a basic understanding and see what information you can actually send through to me. Right. Because I think, you know, written information is just as powerful as information that we hear, because, you know, I spent 10 years boxing. So by the time I come off this call, by the time I think of all the peptides that we've discussed, I've probably forgotten all of them and what they do. So I think if I had that written information in front of me, and I think that would be good for your patients as well. If you have like a booklet of your peptides and give them the information through that, because then they can go away and think, okay, well, this is what does what, and this is what I need. This is what recommendation that you've made, and they can then tie things together. But then they've got information right there in front of them.
Something I like
to refer back to.
And speaking of this, is that I got to do my blood work through Titan Medical, and then I had a great conversation with their medical provider. And she talked, and I just kept my mouth shut and listened. And you know, there was a good portion I did understand just because I've researched this so much this last year. But there's a lot of it I didn't. And so some of that conversation was wasted, but it wasn't wasted in the sense because she sent me after the fact a printout of saying, here's some of the recommendations, here's other things, and this is what they do. And so I had that paperwork after the fact. So even somebody that studied it and still didn't comprehend it, I had all the paperwork and I continued to read it, and it really established that this is what they're recommending for me. This is what these things do. This is how they work. And here's some options. If you don't want to do this, you could do that. And so I thought that was beneficial, and great job on your part, John.
Thank you.
On having it so thorough that, you know, you got somebody there explaining it to you. And then if you still don't understand it, I'm a little slow, I'll admit that. I get to read about it a little bit later.
Definitely. I think that's important. You know, written oral information or phone conversations should be backed up by written information.
This is about you and me with our dyslexia. And this is for all you out there. We have a common trait, I guess you would say, or superpower.
Neurodiversity.
We both have dyslexia. And so one of the big things is that we talked about getting the book on audio, but then still getting the book on paper and going back over it and over it again. So just, again, for anybody out there that if this confused you, don't feel bad. We're going to keep going over this stuff as much as we need to go over this so you guys can understand it and feel comfortable about it, and make sure that you're living your optimal life.
I think a great way is if you can start a newsletter. For me, I think if you can start a newsletter and you can kind of then...
Look at Wally giving, I love this. Business ideas.
We've got a newsletter that goes out every week.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it basically highlights, the first thing you'll see is it highlights, we always do a therapy of the week. So that could be a peptide, that could be a weight loss therapy, blood work, whatever it is. And then we offer a discount on that therapy every week. So it'll change every week, and that's what it is. And then after that, it has information about our other therapies, our events are going on, some of the different things. So honestly, our newsletter is awesome. It's kicking ass.
Fantastic.
50,000.
How do people join that newsletter?
So they can do it from our link tree. So if they go to our social media accounts, they can go right there, click on the newsletter, they sign up right there. They can text the number 22828 to Titan Medical, and then it'll automatically enlist them on the newsletter too as well. So the newsletters, that was the biggest thing. And we created like 3 years ago, And every week, it's awesome, right? We post out therapy in the week in there. Patients didn't even know we had some of these therapies. I'm like, man, like I didn't even know we had this. I'm like, I want to take advantage of it. So yeah,
I love that.
Also,
I'm signing myself up and Mona
Sure.
up today to
Sure.
receive those and make sure that we're on there.
Yeah.